Thanks, Jamie.
Evening, everyone. Gordon Nominatics. Well, I apologise straight away for the language because I used to be called Tourette's at my old work, so I apologise for the language already. And I've asked Jay to do a quick reading for me.
Yeah, good evening. I'm still Karen, still an addict. This is from There Is a Solution, page 21. But what about the real alcoholic? He may start off as a moderate drinker. He may or may not become a continuous hard drinker. At some stage of his drinking career, he begins to lose all control of his liquor consumption once he starts to drink. Here is the fellow who has been puzzling you, especially in his lack of control. He does absurd, incredible, tragic things while drinking. He is a real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He is seldom mildly intoxicated. He is always more or less insanely drunk. His disposition while drinking resembles his normal nature but a little. He may be one of the finest fellows in the world, yet let him drink for a day and he frequently becomes disgustingly and even dangerously antisocial. He has a positive genius for getting tight at exactly the wrong moment, particularly when some important decision must be made or engagement kept. He is often perfectly sensible and well balanced concerning everything except liquor. But in that respect he is incredibly dishonest and selfish. He often possesses special abilities, skills and attitudes and has a promising career ahead of him. He uses his gifts to build up a bright outlook for his family and himself and then pulls the structure down on its head by a senseless series of sprees. Here he is the fellow who goes to bed so intoxicated he ought to sleep the clock around. Yet early next morning he searches madly for the bottle he misplaced the night before. If he can afford it. He may have liquor concealed all over the house to be certain no one gets his entire supply away from him to throw down the waste bottle. As matters grow worse, he begins to use a combination of high-powered sedative and liquor to quiet his nerves so he can go to work. Then comes the day when he simply cannot make it and gets drunk all over again. Perhaps he goes to a doctor who gives him a morphine or some sedative with which to taper off. Then he begins to appear at hospitals and sanitariums.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, I mean, I shared in Bournemouth like last Friday, and the lady said 24. You got to do this in 25 minutes, and I was like, and I spent about 24 minutes to go through war stories, and I thought I can't do that again tonight. I just thought I'll get Jay to read something like that, and that is pretty. What he read there was my life. I had a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, great job, lovely house, and it all meant nothing to me. All I wanted to do was drink and take cocaine. That's all I did. And I smashed them to pieces. I smashed my mum and dad to pieces. My brother lives in America. He came home from America to try and sort me out because I was just going missing. I'd go round the corner and get a pint of. I'd say I'm going to get a pint of milk on a Sunday and come back on a Tuesday. Like miss work. So I thought I'd get Jay to read that because that's where I ended up in a rehab after 35 years or 32 years, or I can't remember, of. It was all right at the start. I think everyone at the start. My first drink was a Jack Daniels at 16. I was a shy kid. I had a Jack Daniels when I started my job. I had a Jack Daniels for free at my first lunchtime, and it changed my life. I wasn't shy anymore. I could go. I was sociable all of a sudden, and I had lots of friends, and we'd done all the holiday things. Like we went to Magaluf and Malia and all that, and it was just normal. It was just normal, and but none of it made me. I was never really happy. There was always something inside me that wasn't. Is there something else? There must be something else. What am I missing here? What am I missing? And so when I was 30, I met my wife, and we used to like have a drink together. And when she got pregnant, we got married. And when she got pregnant, she stopped drinking, and I couldn't fucking work it out. I thought, well, I can't do that. How are you doing that? I know you're pregnant, but you can still have a drink, can't you? But she had a horrendous miscarriage, and she nearly died And from that minute on, I thought, right, I've got to sort this out. I've got to stop taking drugs. I've got to stop drinking. We're going to have a family. I'm going to look after them. So my son come along, and I'll be very honest with you. When my son come along, we went into the hospital in the morning at 9 o'clock because she had preeclampsia, and they were checking her over, and they went, "Oh, you're 3 or 4 inches dilated. It won't be long." And I immediately thought, right, I'm wetting the baby's head from lunchtime. That's all I could think about when she was pushing. She was there for 12, 13 hours pushing, and all I could think about was, fucking come on. And eventually the baby come along, and I should have been happy, but it didn't really feel, I mean, I love my son to bits, but alcohol and drugs just beat me. When my daughter come along, it was getting worse. I mean, some of the things I did, I was mowing the lawn drunk in the garden with holding my daughter, and I went through the lead when I was mowing the lawn. It's just stuff like that, and and I couldn't stop. I was just drinking all the time, hiding it as well. I'd had bottles, as that said, I had bottles hid in the house in my pant drawer. I had pants wrapped around I was buying pants in Next all the time because, to wrap my fucking bottles in. And and it just got worse and worse. It was affecting my job. I had a really good job, and it was affecting my job. And there was 24 of us on my team, and one day we all got sat down in a room like this, and they had a big board, and they said, right, we're making 21 people redundant. 3 of you are going to stay, and you're going to go around to places like India, Philippines, Ireland, to train people up. And I thought, yes, I'm going to have at least, I can't remember the figure I had in my head, but I'll give my wife 500 quid to go shopping, I'll give my kids a couple of grand, and I'll put it in their accounts, and the rest is going up my fucking hooter. And they didn't make me redundant. They kept me. And I was sitting there thinking, I was expecting Jeremy Beadle to come out. I think, this is a wind-up. What the fuck are they keeping me for? So, but that was the end. That was the end of me for that. Because, for example, when I went to Limerick, I had to do interviews. So I got all the youngsters in. I hired 21 people in Ireland, and they were all young. And I was out there for a month. And it was my birthday, and I'd been out with them and all that, and I thought, fucking hell, this guy he's a nutter, he don't go home. But then it was my birthday, and out in Limerick as well, all the ice cream vans are owned by the criminals. So you hear an ice cream van, you're not buying a Flake 99, you are buying a pack of fucking gear. So I wasn't turning up for work over there, and it was my birthday. I had 2 weeks left before I went home, and I got 18 bottles of Jameson's for my birthday in Limerick. And the first thing I thought was, I can't get them on the fucking plane, all of them. I've got to crack on with this. So I spent the last 2 weeks having a bottle of Jameson's a day. Well, more, to be honest, there was nothing left by the end of it. Didn't even take a bottle on the plane. And when I got back, I was in bits. And my work agreed to put me in quite a famous rehab, the Priory. And I think the 3 of the first 5 people I saw, I knew from the telly, as though it wasn't any sort of rehab at all. And 28 days, I think they do a medical on you. And bear in mind how much I've been drinking, how much drug I've taken. They do a medical on you, and I thought, fucking hell, what are they going to tell me? I'm going to die, and I must be due to die very soon. And I went in, and the doctor went to me, well, I've gone through your thing, you've got a bit of a bruised liver, that'll be alright. That'll clear up, and I'd relapsed already. As soon as he said that, you'll be alright, I'd relapsed already before I'd done 2 days in there. So my last day in there was the day that Boris Johnson said that we were going on lockdown. That was my last day in there, and I got home, and as Boris Johnson was saying, you've got to stay in your door, I was getting text messages from Albanians saying, don't worry, we're not in lockdown. So that was a torrid time. That lockdown was just fucking awful, and that's when I really isolated. And I was in my bedroom, and I was just peering through the window. I didn't even know it was psychosis I had, but every single car in my street had someone in. I was in my back garden. This is embarrassing, but I was in my back garden, with my son's Chewbacca mask on, in my underpants with a baseball bat, thinking that all the gateposts were people coming to get me. And my wife come up behind me. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Predator, when one of the blokes is standing there looking into the forest, and Arnold Schwarzenegger comes up behind him and goes, "What can you see?" And that was my wife. She come up behind me. I'm standing there with a baseball bat in the module. And that's when she called my mum and dad and said, "You've got to come and get him, he's fucked. He's totally fucked." So my mum and dad come and got me, and they got me, and the rehab they tried to get me in Bournemouth wouldn't fucking take me, because I was too far gone for them. They said, "No, we ain't having him." So I ended up going in, but I went and started to stay with my mum and dad for a couple of days, and that's when it really got bad, because I just was going missing. I had the police after me in Dorset, and I nearly drowned at Avon Beach, because I was hiding in August, packed Avon Beach. I was hiding in the sea from the police who had my picture, and I nearly ended up in Weymouth because of the current. And in the end I was so desperate I wanted to die, so I held my mum and dad hostage in their house, and I begged the police to shoot me through the window because I couldn't go on. I begged them. I just said, "Just shoot me." But luckily one of the blokes there one of the policemen was in recovery, and he got hold of me, and they didn't charge me. I spent the night in the cell. They didn't charge me. She said, "Look, you've got to go rehab. You've got to go and sort this out." So I did, and that's where I learned that I was ill. I wasn't a total nutcase. I was ill. I learnt about the illness that I've got, and it was a relief, to be honest, because I just thought I was I thought I was worse than anything you can think of. I thought that's what I was, and they taught me then, and I spent 3 months, and I didn't drink and use for 3 months. So I thought I was the bollocks, to be honest. And I come out, and they say they give you a list of what you're going to do when you get out, who's your sponsor, and I thought, "Oh, fuck that, I'm alright." And I put Fred West was my sponsor, and what meetings you're going to do, and I printed out a load of meetings that I wasn't going to do, but to show my counsellor I was going to do them. And then that next 2 months when I come out, I was like a dry drunk, and that's the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I can't even describe to you. I was dehydrated every day through crying, because I thought, because I'd done 3 months, my wife would let me back, my children would be alright, my mum and dad would be alright with me, my brother would be alright with me, but no, it doesn't work like that. So I called the lady that runs the treatment centre. I said, "I'm in trouble here, I'm in big trouble." And she went, "Well, who's your sponsor?" I went, "I ain't got one." She said, "Well, are you reading the book?" I went, "What book?" She went, "Get your ass back to Southampton." She stuck me in a dry house, and I got a sponsor, a really good one, and he took me through the steps. And I mean, step 3 for me was unbelievable, because the praying thing, I've got to tell you about the praying thing, because that really, my brother reminded me of that today when I said I was sharing. I was going to him, "They want you to pray. He wanted me to pray. I fucking hate religion. I can't pray. I've never prayed." He went, "You have prayed?" I went, "No, I ain't." He went, "You have, and it works." I went, "When?" He goes, "What about when we were landing in Las Vegas? And we were praying that we found a drug dealer. And our fucking taxi driver from the airport was selling drugs." So he said, "It works." So, yeah, and that's what I thought, yeah, praying works. I'm going to fucking pray. So, and Jay was one that told me about the CEO roll. He was like, when you wake up in the morning, you just roll out of bed and you start praying. Don't do anything, you just pray. And that's what I do. And, yes, I went through the steps, and step 4 it's hard. Step 4 was fucking hard for me, because some of the things was just horrendous. And but I've done them. I've got them all down as much as the worst, as much as I could. And the amends process is just. I'm not back with my wife, but I wasn't allowed near my wife or my children 3 years ago, and now I'll go up on a Friday night. She'll take herself off to her mum's or her friends or something for the weekend, and I'll get to look after my children in the house. And she'll come back on a Sunday, and we'll have Sunday dinner together, and then I'll come back to Bournemouth, to Southampton, And when people say a life beyond your wildest dreams, like I used to see people on recovery wearing nice clothes and all that, but the main thing I saw was that they had peace of mind and they were happy, and I wanted that, and I've got that today. I mean, it's not all the time. 18 months ago, I let my resentments is my killer, and I let my resentments get on top of me, and the illness speaks to me, and it's fucking horrible, because I was walking over the co-op because I'd had enough, and I'd let my program go, and I was walking over the co-op, and I had a voice in my head saying, "Will you fucking call Jay? Will you call your sponsor? Will you call someone quickly before you get over there?" And I had this voice saying, "No, fuck that. You'll be all right." And I did, and I relapsed. But luckily, the black man there noticed it early, and I sorted myself out, and you know, I'm happy today. I do service in meetings. I've got my home group on a Tuesday, and everyone around me, my family's healed along with me, and I've probably missed a load out, but I'm happy and I'm glad to be here, and I hope someone got something from that. So, thank you.
Thank you.